Cora's POV. Heading across the field, I go straight toward the tree line. Walking into the forest a few feet, I stop, sniffing the air to see if anybody is close by. All clear. Samora, wake up. Why? It's time for a run. Really? I said I would, and I meant it. OMG, I love you. She roars in my head, jumping around like a hyper puppy. All right, chill out, I laugh. But I'm so happy, 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 she sings. If you don't stop that, I will change my mind. Shutting up, she says while pretending to zip her mouth. I laugh at her antics. I'm sure she'll kill me one day because she has no brain, I whisper to myself. Hey, I heard that, she grumbles. Okay, Samora, how do we do this again? I ask. You have to imagine me, every detail possible, then it will happen, she replies. All right, here we go. I imagine Samora in my mind. Her golden fur, thick mane, long face, and large jaw, her long arms stretching from her chest, with 2-inch claws extending from her hands, then her huge feet, and finally her tail. I go to the back of her mind and she comes forward, this transformation much easier than the last. She shakes out her fur and stretches her tall body up to the sky. She must be at least 8 feet tall. Her eyes are even brighter than mine, the green sparkles in them, making it seem like you are being sucked into the depths of the world. Finally! Have some fun, Samora. I'll be back here if you need, but remember not to let anyone see you, I warn her. No problem, chick. Then she runs as fast as she can through the trees, over a large rock, and past a lake. Her speed is extraordinary, as well as her agility. She stops at the far end of the lake, taking a drink of the water. Hearing something in the bushes to her right, she crouches down low, blending in slightly with the yellow stones. The bush moves, shaking some of the leaves off of it. Time for lunch, Samora announces to me. She pounces like a rabbit into the bush, finding a baby deer. She grabs it around the neck with her jaw, her teeth slightly sinking into its neck. Samora, no, it's just a baby. I say, disgust in my voice. But I'm hungry. I don't care. What if this was your pup? I growl at her. Fine. Samora drops the deer to the ground and then licks its neck, healing the puncture wounds instantly. We better get back now, I say. Okay, but when can we go again? She questions. I'm not sure, in a few days. I'll hold you to that, she replies, once again running as fast as she can to the tree we started at. She shifts back into me, bones snapping and breaking back into my human ones. I'm glad I don't have to worry about ripping my clothes like a wolf. I guess being a lichen has some perks. I walk through the trees towards the field, stopping just at the edge. Shivers roll down my back. I look back at the forest, my eyes zoning throughout the tree, feeling like something is watching me, but not finding anything. Shrugging my shoulders, I leisurely walk through the flower field, forgetting about the shivers instantly. I let my hands brush across all the different flowers while on my way to the house. I reach the house and open the back door with the intention of going for a nap. That run has knackered me out. I find Kia sitting at the kitchen counter drinking a cup of coffee. Nice run? He asks, not looking at me. I note that his tone seems angry. Yes, thank you. It was very tiring, I reply, going over to the kettle. Why didn't you want me to come with you? He grumbles, circling his finger around the rim of his mug. I cough, clearing my throat. I like to run alone, I whisper. Okay, that's fine, he replies with a grumble in his tone. I finish making myself a mug of tea and sit next to Kia at the counter, waiting patiently for him to say something. It takes a few minutes before he clears his throat. I'm sorry for being angry, he whispers. I go to speak, but he shakes his head at me, so instead I take a sip of my tea. I just thought that it would have been nice for us to run together alone, but obviously you don't want that, he sighs deeply. I can see from his face that this has hurt him. It's not that Kia, it's just, I'm a bit self-conscious, so I don't go with anyone, I whisper, fiddling with my mug. I know it's a lie, but I can't tell him the real reason just yet. Okay, that's fine, we can work up to it, he replies with a lighter tone. A small smile appears on his face, easing my anxiety. I nod my head at him while humming my agreement. How about a picnic? He asks. That sounds lovely, I smile. Standing up, he goes into the dining room, which as of yet hasn't been used by us, and grabs a wicker basket. Lifting open the lid, he shows me it's already fully stocked with lots of food. Getting up, I stretch myself up and kiss his cheek. Lead the way. I whisper in his ear, smiling brightly. And that is exactly what he does. We walk through the flower field and take a different route than the one I did this morning. It doesn't have any designated path, but Kia seems to know where he's going. He leads me to a small clearing, which turns out to be a secret mountain ledge. It looks out over the forests and fields below, stretching as far as the eye can see. The sun and clouds brighten and darken it in all the right places. I stand right at the edge of the 200 feet drop basil, know in its beauty. We set up the picnic and enjoy it for a few hours, chatting about every possible thing. I find out Kia's favorite color is white and that history is a hobby of his. He is shocked to find out mine is blue and that I had a sword collection when I was younger. When the sun starts to set, we pack up and head back to his house, ready for a nice, relaxing evening. Luckily, it doesn't take long. We walk in the back door, finding everyone in the kitchen cooking dinner. Kia puts away the stuff from our picnic while I make us a drink. The doorbell rings just as I take a sip of my tea. "I'll get it," I shout to everyone. Going to the door, I open it and find two people who I didn't expect. Kate and Amy. Cora's POV. Going to the door, I open it and find two people who I didn't expect. Kate and Amy. They are both smiling brightly at me, so I give them a half smile and say, "Hi, what can I do for you?" "Is Neela in?" asks Kate, looking around my body to see inside the house. "Yes," I reply. "Oh, can we talk to her, please?" says Amy, excessively dragging out the word please. "Neela!" I shout. "What?" I hear her shout back. "It's for you," I reply. She comes out of the kitchen grumbling about something. When she gets closer, I hear what she says. "Who the fuck would want me at this hour? Bloody people disturbing my food." I giggle at her grumpiness. Not having food in her stomach makes her very moody since we've been back here. She comes and stands next to me and looks at the visitors, disbelief and confusion written on her face. "May I help you?" she growls. "We're really sorry, Neela," Kate says. "Yes, we are. Please forgive us," Amy joins in. "Why would I? You defended that bitch." "We weren't sure how to approach the subject with her of being your friend again," Amy replies. "Well, ain't that the truth? Why would I want you two as friends again anyway?" Neela says sarcastically. "Really, Neela, we were the best of friends. How can you throw that away?" Kate says. "I've learned over the years that friends only hurt you," Neela says with determination. "Look, we really do want to be friends again," Kate says, exasperated. "Sure you do," Neela interrupts. "When you disappeared, we held off for ages before befriending Bethany." "I doubt that," retorts Neela, putting her hands on her hips. "Anyway, we want to make it up to you," Amy says, waving her hand at us. "And why would I forgive you so quickly?" Neela snarls. "It wasn't our fault, Neela. Please just give us a chance." I lean close to her and whisper in her ear. "They were your friends for a long time. I can understand your hurt, but they are trying." Then I smile and turn to go back to the kitchen. Neela reaches out and grabs my arm, pulling me back towards her. It makes me stumble into her, so we both have to correct our feet. "Fine, but Cora comes too, or I won't come," she informs them. Kate and Amy both look shocked, not expecting for Neela to invite me. Even I'm shocked. I don't really want to be around these girls, but I guess for Neela I will. "Oh, I thought it would just be us three, but yeah, sure. Great," Kate replies. "Okay," I say awkwardly. "What's the plan then?" I ask them. Kate gives me a raised eyebrow, apparently already not liking me. "How about we start at the cafe, then go shopping and maybe a swim in the lake? Tomorrow maybe?" Amy says with trepidation. Neela and me both look at each other and then shrug our shoulders. "Wait, I've got nothing planned, so it sounds good to me," I say, looking at Neela. She hums and then responds with, "Yeah, that's fine." "Great," they both squeal excitedly. "Shall we meet at 10? At the cafe?" Kate asks. "Yeah, okay," Neela replies, a small smile playing on her lips. We say our goodbyes and go back to the kitchen. It's nice that they are trying to be friends again with Neela after so many years apart. It's just sad that it took a terrible incident to happen before they would. I don't get why they would become friends with Bethany anyway. She seems so nasty and self-cantered, whereas Kate and Amy seem quiet and likable, even though they are both a bit on the slow side. "Who was that?" asks Luca, just as we come back through the door. We both grab our food and sit around the counter with them. Amy and Kate, they want to go shopping with us tomorrow, so we said yes. Neela replies. An awkward silence follows her words. The cutlery stops moving and everyone looks at her. Just be careful, Kia mutters. She nods her head and we all get back to eating. I hope tomorrow does go well for us all. Neela needs normality back in her life. I know she's holding it in well, but I can tell that trying to get back into normal life is taking a toll on her. She always checks over her shoulder and even flinches sometimes when any of the men come near her. Like last night, for example, she crept into bed with me, and Perry, sweat was covering her whole body, and she was shaking, so I guess she had a bad dream, but she wouldn't talk about it to me. I can't imagine what she went through all those years. We were only there for a few days, and that was hard enough. After we finish our food, we clean up and I go take Perry for a bath. She can do it herself, but prefers for me to be with her. I run the bath while she gets undressed in the bedroom. I put a bath bomb in and create lots of bubbles. Perry seems to have an obsession with bubbles. She jumps in, making up a huge splash and soaking me in the process. "Perry," I shout, giving her the stinky eye. "Sorry," she laughs. "What are you like?" I say sarcastically. "Bloody trouble, that's what." She smiles up at me with a silly look on her face, her hands swaying in the water, making cup motions. "Don't you dare," I tell her. "Don't want Cora?" she giggles. "I know what you're planning to do, so don't." I warn her, but it doesn't seem to work, and she does it anyway, splashing me several times and getting me absolutely drenched so that I look like a drowned rat. I stand there in shock water dripping from my hair. "Just you wait, I'll get you back," I laugh, pointing my finger at her. "Come on, let's wash your hair and get this over with," I say to her. I wash her hair out, making sure it's all nice and clean. "Perry?" "Yes," she replies, distracted from the soap dropping into her eye. "What is it like being a seer?" I ask. "It's hard and it takes a lot of energy, but I've still got a lot to learn," she says. "I think we need to go see the pack doctor, see if he knows anyone that can help us with you and your gift," I reply. "Okay, that's fine." She stays with a slight grumble. I can tell from her tone of voice that she doesn't want to talk about this anymore, so I finish washing her hair and help her out of the bath and into bed. I wipe myself down with a towel, get changed, and join her in bed. It's been a long day and we all need a good rest. Tomorrow I will learn more about Kate and Amy, Cora's POV. Me and Neela get up in the morning at 8 a.m., get showered and dressed, have a small breakfast, and then head straight out the door for 9:30 a.m., ready to meet Kate and Amy at 10 a.m. Kia has arranged for a driver to take us to them since both of us don't have a license or know how to drive a car yet. I was never allowed to learn because my father thought that I would get in a car accident easily, and Neela never got a chance to learn because she was captured. Thankfully, the drive doesn't take long. We get to the cafe and walk inside, seeing Kate and Amy sitting at a booth in the far corner. We go up to the counter and both order a hot chocolate and a croissant. While we wait for our order, I say to Neela, "How are you feeling about today?" I'm not sure, excited maybe, a little wary of the fact that only 2 days ago they didn't want to be my friend, and now because Bethany is gone, they do, she replies. "Yeah, I get what you mean. It's going to be hard at first, but I'm sure you'll be great friends again," I reply to her. The waitress calls our order number, so we collect our drinks and food and go sit in the booth with Kate and Amy. "This is so exciting," Amy says, clapping her hands like a toddler. Neela and I both nod our heads but don't say anything. Kate asks, "How have you been all these years? What was it like out there?" Neela shrugs her shoulders. "It was hard, but I managed." "Bless your poor soul," Kate says, ready to ask something else, but I decide to change the subject, knowing that this is a touchy one for Neela. "So tell me about you, too. I don't know you very well." "Oh, well, we're both only children. We live next door to each other. That our birthdays are 1 day apart, and we 3 all grew up together until Neela went missing." "That is," Kate replies. "Wow, so you're all like sisters in a way when you were kids," I say. "Oh yeah, it was so hard to separate us. We had sleepovers nearly every night of the week," Amy replies. "So how have things been between you two since I've been gone?" Neela asks. Kate and Amy both look at each other, then Kate speaks first. "Well, I did meet my mate when I was 18, but Bethany didn't approve, so she made his life quite bad," Kate says. "Who was it?" Neela asks. Do you remember Jacob? He was the really smart kid in our year, bit goofy. Amy explains. Him really? Neela frowns. Yeah, him, Amy confirms. I knew he always had a crush on you. I didn't expect you to be mates. That's great, Neela says. Kate looks down at her lap, her fingers fiddling with each other, and a gloomy look on her face. It wasn't that great, because Bethany didn't like him and said he wasn't good enough for me. She bullied him all the time, she sighs. Even though I accepted him as my mate, it wasn't enough and he committed suicide. Kate whispers, a stray tear escaping her eye. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Neela replies. It happens. There's nothing I can do about it now. Hun, I've forgiven him for having to take his own life, Kate says solemnly. We all go quiet for a minute, not knowing what to say. The awkward silence continues until Neela changes the subject to Amy. So what about you, Amy? Anything nice going on? She asks. Amy smiles broadly. Well, I haven't met my mate yet, but I just know he's going to be amazing. I can feel it in my heart that he's going to be so perfect for me, she laughs. That's good then. How are your parents? Neela asks. They're okay. I mean, my dad passed away about a year ago, which was hard, but my mum has managed to move on and find a new mate. A big smile appears on her face, and she looks at Kate. Do you know who it is? I ask Amy. She nods her head but doesn't say anything. Kate looks up and does a small smile. We both do, she says cryptically. Can you tell us? I ask. She thinks for a minute and then decides by nodding her head quickly. Yes, it's my dad, Kate declares happily. Okay, I'm confused. How does that work? Neela asks. Well, my mum and Kate's dad are second chance mates, Amy replies. How can that be? I reply. Oh, sorry, you're new to our pack and Neela got taken so you won't know. So my mum died in the war, so my dad has been alone for a long time, Kate informs me. I think it was the moon goddess looking down on my mum after Dad died, and now me and Kate are stepsisters, Amy says. They got married and mated? Neela replies, shocked. Oh, yeah. So about 2 weeks before you arrived it happened, and we've been living together as a family since then, Kate says, and they both clap their hands while cheering. Me and Neela both smile at them. I'm glad both of their parents have got a second chance, especially with them both knowing each other for so long. It must have been hard on Kate's dad to have his new mate right next door after his longtime mate passed away, but I'm thankful it's all worked out for them. I just hope that Neela and Luca can get to a place where Neela isn't scared around him. He keeps trying so hard with her, but you can see it hurts him when she flinches at his touch. Maybe I should talk to her when we get back home about it and see if I can help. I know I don't have any experience with what she went through, but maybe a friendly ear is all she needs. We finish our brunch and go straight to the mall, spending money like it grows on trees. Poor Kia will have a shock when we get back. Kia's POV. With Neela and Cora out shopping with Kate and Amy, they've left it up to Riggs, Luca, and myself to keep Perry happy, so we decided to have some fun. We start by playing Twister, where we find out that Perry is very flexible. She can easily bend around all of us. It ends with Luca and Riggs tangled up by their limbs. After that, we play Uno, which Perry hasn't played since she was young, but still beats us all quickly. This girl has some magic in her bones when it comes to games. We take a break from the game to have hot dogs for lunch. This is so funny, Perry laughs. What's so funny? Luca asks, taking a huge bite of his dog. You're a dog, she snorts, and you're eating a dog, she giggles. We all stop eating immediately. Looking at our hot dogs, we try to not feel the unease rolling through our stomachs. It's a different kind of dog, Luca retorts, taking a huge bite of his dog, chewing it with an open mouth and accidentally dropping some from his mouth down onto the table. Seeing this, I put my food back on the plate and push it away, the mangled up meat already making me feel sick. Perry continues to eat her food and even decides to lick the plate just to gross us out even more. What should we do next? Asks Riggs. How about poker? Luca suggests. Luca, we can't play poker with a 10-year-old, Riggs admonishes. What's poker? Perry questions. Well, little Perry, it's a card game where you're given 2 cards and there will be, Luca explains. You can't explain how to play poker, Luca, I tell him, but he completely ignores me and carries on talking to Perry. A few cards on the table that you have to get to match yours to win the game. Do you win prizes? She asks. I huff exasperated, learning the table to go grab some drinks for us all while Luca explains more of the game. I return back to the table to find it all set up for poker. Luca is even wearing a green cap and a red tie to make it more authentic. I shake my head at him. Luca, you are a complete idiot, I growl. Leave me alone, Grandpa, Luca replies. Alpha, you got any money? Riggs asks, distracting me from the moron to my right. Yeah, how much? I asked, getting my wallet out of my back pocket. $400 in $20 bills should do it, he laughs, holding his hand out. Frowning at him, I hand over the money and sit down, accepting the fact that we will be playing poker with a 10-year-old. Riggs hands all of us $100 each, grinning at me widely. Sorry, boss, but if you can't beat, then join them, Riggs says. After a few rounds of practice, we play a real game. Perry plays all our bluffs and we get cleared out in one round. Right, that's it. I give up. Luca growls, You little miss are a cheater. He says, wiggling his finger at Perry, then sitting back, he crosses his arms and sulks like a child. Having enough of losing, we pop to the grocer's and grab some meat for the barbecue later tonight. We get back and set up the grill ready for when the girls return. I'm just about to grab a beer from the fridge when I feel it, the pull towards the forest urging me to go in. I look up out the window, starting at the edges of the forest. Riggs, I urge, keeping my eyes on the forest. Alpha? He asks, coming to stand beside me. Come with me, I growl. Luca, I shout. He runs into the room with a worried look on his face. Watch Perry, I order. What's going on? Luca questions, but I don't reply, instead heading straight out the door with Riggs on my tail. I start running through the field as fast as I can, choosing to shift into my wolf to be quicker. I jump over a large rock and then feel my bones snapping and fur spreads across my skin. I land back on the ground with 4 paws. My wolf Silver takes over my body, his dark brown fur, blue eyes, and big stature sticking out in the field. Riggs also shifts into his wolf Xander. He's got light brown fur and golden eyes, his height nearly matching mine. I follow my senses through the forest to the lake, stopping at the one side of it. My eyes scan the water edge around the lake. I don't see anything to start with, but I instinctively go back to looking at one spot of the lake where I see some movement. I realize it's 2 wolves fighting another wolf, and something that looks like a white wolf, but I know it isn't. Alpha, what is that? Riggs links me. I'm not sure, Silver, any ideas? I ask my wolf. Lichen. One word is all we need from him. Shouldn't the girls be here? Riggs questions, but I don't answer. The feeling inside me grows, and Silver pushes me forward, closer to the beast. Silver and Xander run quickly through the trees, around bushes, and over rocks, racing to get to the fight on my pack's land. We have to divert inland slightly because the lake is an odd shape, and doing so we lose sight of the fight. Our wolves carry on pushing themselves to their limits. We come within 2 miles of them, and my wolf Silver starts to go crazy. He shakes out his fur and bounces around while running. I look over to the fight. The beast has a wolf at its mercy, then tears off the leg from it, blood spewing everywhere, and a long howl sounds from the wolf, pure pain ripping through it. Just as we get a mile away from the fight, I feel it. The mate bond, Cora's POV. After a major shopping spree, we get the driver to take us to the edge of the forest, telling him to wait there for us. We walk through the forest towards the lake. It takes around 10 minutes to get there. Amy and Kate walk ahead of us, whispering to each other. Sometimes they look back at us but carry on leading the way. Arriving at the lake, we set up our towels on the grass a few feet from the cobblestones and water. Gosh, it's beautiful here. I say, pretending to not have seen it before. Yeah, it was always one of our favorite spots, Amy replies, putting her towel next to Kate's. I always loved this place, Neela says, more to herself than to us. Do you remember the cabin that's not far from here? Asks Kate, pointing to the left. The one which we used to camp in? Neela replies. Yeah, that one, Kate confirms. Neela nods at her. Well, Alpha Kia came across an old lady a while back and let her stay in it, but she disappeared suddenly, Kate says with a hidden smile on her face, intriguing me. What happened to her? I ask, sitting on my towel. Kate looks at me with squinting eyes, not expecting the question. We don't know, she says, but doesn't bother to elaborate, so I drop the subject, intending to ask Kia later. We lie in the sun for a while, enjoying the slight breeze coming from the lake. "Ha, shall we go for a dip then?" Amy says excitedly. We all nod in agreement. Amy and Kate decide to go get changed into their bikinis behind a tree. Me and Neela wait for them to come out, so then we can get changed. Kate comes out from the left of the tree and Amy from the right, both in wolf form, growling at us. Their wolves are dirty blonde with black eyes. "What's going on?" I say, standing up and pulling Neela behind me. Kate's wolf snaps its jaw towards us, slowly taking steps closer. I take small steps backward, keeping Neela behind me. Amy's wolf growls loudly, saliva dripping from her jaw. "Neela?" I look at her worried. "I need to shift and so do you," she whispers to me, determination in her voice. "If I shift, we don't know what will happen. Samora could kill them," I say warily. "Well, right now, I think that's what they want for us," Neela replies. Kate's wolf gets ready to pounce on Neela, but doesn't get a chance as Neela shifts into her wolf form next to me and runs straight at her, going for her ribs. Kate turns her body to the left so Neela doesn't hit her mark. Their jaws snap at each other, trying to get hold of the other one. Neela manages to bite Kate's tail, which causes her to whine in pain. I look back at Amy and find her only a few feet from me, stalking my movements. Turning my body, I try to create distance by running into the trees. Jumping over a bush, I transform into my lichen, just as I land on the ground. Samora chooses to turn back to Amy, just in time for her to barrel into us, knocking Samora down with such force that it breaks one of our ribs. Samora stands up on her hind legs to her full height, clutching her one side with her paw, the pain rippling through her body. Amy's wolf takes a few steps back, not realizing that I am not a normal wolf, but still growls at Samora. Samora charges at Amy, our jaw clenching around her neck, puncturing the skin with our teeth. She howls at the pain, snapping her teeth at us while trying to pull her neck away, but only tearing her own flesh more. Samora stands up and shakes our head from side to side, Amy's body moving like a rag doll between our teeth. She kicks her back legs at our chest, ripping into our fur, causing blood to spill out. Samora growls at the pain, closing her jaw even tighter around Amy's neck, then gives her head a big shake, making Amy's head smash against a nearby tree, knocking her out. Samora hears a whine up ahead from Neela, but then it stops. She looks up and sees Kate's wolf standing over Neela, with a paw pushing down on her throat, cutting off her air. Neela's gray wolf tries to turn her body so the pressure gets released, but to no use. Kate uses this advantage by biting Neela's stomach, ripping a huge piece of skin on her stomach, creating a flap, showing some of her organs below. Neela's eyes begin to roll back in her head from the quick amount of blood loss. Samora acts quickly, spitting Amy out of her mouth. She drops to the ground with a thump, the dust being disturbed below her. Samora sprints over to Kate and Neela, going so fast that she misses tackling Kate, but manages to bite a leg as she passes, pulling Kate completely off Neela. Samora keeps Kate's leg locked between her jaw as they roll with each other, their bodies flipping over one another and slapping the ground as they go. Samora kicks the ground with her back legs, stopping herself from rolling, but Kate's wolf carries on. Her leg becomes twisted, then the bone breaks at the knee. Kate howls in pain. Samora growls loudly, chomping down on the leg, making slices into it. She stops biting the leg and grabs Kate's foot, pulling with all her strength. The flesh at the knee starts to tear. Just at this moment, Kate shifts back into human form, screaming and crying uncontrollably. Samora does not get deterred and continues to pull. Every layer of skin at her knee separates until only one piece is left, giving it one final yank. Samora wrenches it from its owner. Screams echo through the forest from Kate, blood spewing from her knee. Samora decides that the leg in her mouth is now her chew toy and begins to crush it into tiny pieces between her teeth, her green eyes shining bright hostility. Kate, seeing this, pales at the sight, tears running down her face in waves, but then her face turns red again, anger rising from her missing limb. "I'll kill you for this," she shouts. Cora's POV. Samora glares at Kate, dropping the now chewed-up leg from her mouth. She growls out, "You don't scare me, girl." The shock that appears on Kate's face makes me laugh inside Samora's head. Feeling this, Samora grins widely. It must look bad because Kate tries to move further away from her. "How can you talk?" Kate asks. I am a lichen, you mutt. Samora snarls, snapping her jaw at Kate. But you shouldn't be able to talk, she quips. You need a bigger brain. Samora retorts. Hearing a groan beside us, Samora looks at Neela. Her intestines are slipping out of the gaping hole in her stomach. Neela moves her body subconsciously, which makes her organs slip out more. Bending down, Samora gently picks up Neela's hand, ensuring her long claws don't cause more blood loss. Using her hand, she places it over the wound, creating a barrier to stop anything else from spilling out. With the blood loss I am surprised she isn't already dead. Samora, we need to get her to a hospital, I say. She questions. Samora, you are not stupid. If her injuries don't get treated, she will die, I urge. Neela not die, she insists. A rustling sound comes from behind us. Samora turns quickly, half-stepping over Neela to protect her from any more danger. She bends down slightly, ready to pounce on whoever the intruder is. Two people walk out from the bushes, stopping as soon as they see Samora. More, it's Kia and Riggs. Mate? She replies. Yes, please calm down. No, he wants to hurt my friend, she growls loudly, warning them to stay away from us. Kia and Riggs both hold their hands up at Samora, showing they mean no harm. Samora, Mate doesn't want to hurt his sister, I explain. Sister? She questions, her ears pulling backward as doubt creeps into her mind. The mind I'm currently sitting in. Kia is watching us warily. I know he doesn't realize that Samora is my lichen, and not just some random person, but I know that he now feels the mate bond from seeing us like this. Mate? He says out loud, making Riggs look between him and Samora with a shocked face, his mouth open wide with disbelief. Samora nods her head but growls again, her lip curling up. Who are you? He asks, a frown marring his face. Samora stops growling at them. Instead, she turns her head to the side slightly, taking a minute before she replies. Samora, she mutters. Hello, Samora, I am Kia. Watching him closely, she nods. He goes to take a step forward, but Samora snarls at him. Okay, I won't move anymore. Can you tell me who your human is? He asks, looking from her to Neela. Alpha, we have to get Neela out of here, Riggs whispers to Kia. Samora hears this and takes a step toward him, snapping her jaw loudly. Our eyes grow bright. Riggs instantly takes a step back, worry flickering across his face. Samora, you need to calm down. He won't hurt any of us, I say, but she doesn't listen. Shut up, Riggs, Kia grumbles. Samora, who is your human? He asks again. Cora, she grunts out. They turn to each other, confusion written all over their faces. How is that possible? Replies Riggs, looking to Kia for answers. I'm not sure, his frown grows deeper. Can you shift for me? Kia asks gently, looking back at us. Samora shakes her head. I sigh internally. Samora, please shift. He won't hurt Neela, I promise. No, she affirms. I get exasperated with her and instead demand it. She needs help, Samora, and you can't give it to her now. Shift! I command. Fine, she grumbles nonchalantly. My bones begin to snap and mold back into their original places. My legs stumble forward from the wide space that Samora left between them. Kia jumps forward, grabbing me around the arms before I face plant the stones. Cora, he whispers in my ear, hugging me tightly. Kia, are you okay? I ask, leaning back slightly so I can see his face. Yes, I'm fine, but we need to get you and Neela to the hospital, he states, looking down at my chest and seeing the large gashes which have cut through my clothes and are now dripping blood everywhere. I look at his chest and see his white shirt is now also covered in my blood. Turning back to Riggs, he says, Get some men here now. The girls are to be seen by the doctor, and then they are to both be taken to the catacombs. Yes, Alpha, Riggs replies. Kia lets go of me and bends down to Neela. He presses his hand onto Neela's, which is holding in her organs. Alpha Kia! Kate screams. He looks over to her, anger all across his face. What? He growls at her. Your bitch tried to kill me. She snarls, That mongrel ripped off my leg. She points to her half-eaten leg. So, what's your point? He grumbles. His attention focuses on Neela. Kill her! She can't get away with this. Neither of them can. Kate spits out her fists, banging against the ground. Yeah, we can't let them get away with it, he repeats sarcastically. I look over to see Riggs checking on Bethany. It seems that when her head hit the tree, it actually caved in part of her skull, and that when Samora was holding her by her neck, she managed to rip through several layers of skin, causing her to bleed profusely out of it. Being distracted by Riggs with Bethany and Kia with Neela, I don't hear or see Kate shuffling herself toward me. She kicks her foot at the bottom of my ankles, forcing my feet out from under me and causing me to fall down onto my back with a thump. My head lands next to her waist. "Time to die, bitch!" She snarls at me, raising a rock in her hand above my head, then brings it down onto my left temple. The dizziness instantly hits me, and a searing pain shoots through my skull, my human body not able to take such a force that I black out from the hit. King Conry's POV. Sitting in this damn hospital bed in my own bedroom is becoming uncomfortable and undignifying. Since my clock started, I've gotten worse each day, but 5 days ago I could no longer use my legs, so I am now confined to this bed, with fluids being pumped into me at all angles. The pain which constantly simmers through my body since Cora rejected Alpha Drake and found her true mate is causing havoc on my body. Damien believes my pain is from her meeting her mate, not from the rejection of Drake, but we will never know since it all happened at the same time. After I sent Damien to investigate the whole situation, I have been ready to kill lots of people, so I'm glad I am unable to use my legs, otherwise several people would be dead. Speaking of the devil look who just walked in with one of my many IV bags. He looks drained. His olive skin is more gray, his black hair is disheveled and greasy, and his pristine suit has more wrinkles in it than my socks. "Sir, I have more information for you," he declares while hooking up the bag. "Go on," I reply. "We have found out that the girl Alpha Drake rejected Princess Cora for is actually the Rogue King's daughter," he states. "How can that be?" I question. "The Rogue King once had a mate. This mate now works in your kitchen. What?" I shout. "Fire her now!" My hand bangs down onto the bed. "Your Highness, before you do that you need to know one thing," Damien says, not bothered by my outburst. He sits in the chair next to my bed. "What now? Can you not spit out all of the information at once?" I growl, impatient and in pain. "If you stop interrupting me and trying to kill people, yes, I would," he replies, a slight tug pulling at the side of his mouth. "Fine, but this time do not stop until it's done. Got it?" I say slowly, drawing my anger back. "Where do I start with this one?" he says, thinking for a moment. "Okay. Listen well, sir, and don't go nuts," he says while wagging his finger at me. I nod to him as my reply, keeping my word to wait. "After your mother died, your father was alone for 3 years before he succumbed to what is now your fate, yes?" he asks. "That's right," I reply. "I have found out that not long before he passed away, he spent the night with a young lady. It turns out that the lady fell pregnant with his child." I hold my hand up to him, stopping his words from spilling out. I take a few deep breaths, the burning sensation in my chest needing a release but not getting it. It takes a few minutes before I wave my hand for Damien to carry on. He gives me a confused look but does as instructed. "The mother tried to find your father as soon as she found out, but he had died by then. She chose to keep the pregnancy with one day being able to introduce you to, but sadly she died after the birth," he states, a frown covering his face. "It does not say what she died of, so I will dig deeper into that. But anyway, the child had no known family as hers all died, so the child was taken in by the palace as with all orphaned children we have. The child was taken care of by one of the cooks who eventually adopted it." He stops for a minute to let me digest what he has said. "From what I can gather, it seems I have a half-sister who now serves me as a kitchen cook. I can understand the fact that my father could never tell me since he had died, but why would he spend a night with some random lady?" I ask Damien that exact question. "I'm not sure why, but I will do more searching," he assures me. I hum my agreement and let him finish his talking. "The child who the cook adopted is the old mate to the Rogue King, so that means the girl who caused your daughter's heartache is actually your niece," he finishes, letting out a deep breath. "Wait, so you're telling me my father had a daughter and she was the Rogue King's mate, and they had a daughter who hurt my daughter. So not only do I have a half-sister, but I have a niece, and the Rogue King is technically my brother-in-law," I question him. "Yes, sir, it also means they are Princess Cora's aunt and uncle," he states. "Have you told this to the elders?" "No, sir," he replies. "Good. Don't," I command. "Why?" I sigh deeply, the pain in my heart increasing. I cringe at it, pressing my hand to my heart. I rub it gently. She must find out by herself. Knowing the elders once I am gone, they would tell her, and that will jeopardize everything I have done. I say, Damien, the day I die, I want you to go find her and tell her personally that I've gone. She will only trust you. I finish, and he does a quick tilt of his head in understanding. The pain gets worse, so I suck in a long breath. Damien notices this and goes to my top drawer, pulling out a needle with wolfsbane inside. He looks at me, confirming my need for the relief. I slightly nod to him, closing my eyes, grateful for this one thing that can ease the burden of my death and instead send me into oblivion. He puts the needle into my IV and empties its contents into it, throwing away the needle afterward. Damien, I whisper, the drowsiness already taking hold of me. Yes, Your Highness, he replies. The pain, she has revealed herself to her mate. Do nothing to the woman. As you wish, sir. He bows to me and then leaves the room, knowing I will not be able to communicate any longer. My dear daughter will start her reign as queen in a terrible way. I just hope she is able to overcome the obstacle that is soon to be at her door. Kia's POV. Walking through those bushes and seeing the 3 girls all hurt and lying on the floor with a huge beast standing there was one of the most scariest things I'd ever seen. When my eyes focused more on Neela, I noticed her stomach was cut open. If she didn't get to a doctor soon, I would lose my sister all over again, and I couldn't let that happen. Knowing this beast was my mate, I had to find out more before I could get Neela the help she needed. To find out that my mate was Cora, and that the beast is her Lycan Samora gobsmacked me. Just before the guards arrived, Kate took us by surprise and knocked Cora out cold. She laughed hysterically after it happened, until I kicked her in the head, knocking her out cold. The anger which flowed through my body at that point was something I had never felt before. No one touches my mate. We arrive at the hospital, and they rush Neela into the operating room. Knowing I won't be able to go with her, I stay with Cora. They take her to a side room while we wait for the doctor to come assess her. I sit in the chair beside her bed waiting. After an hour, Dr. Collins walks into the room. I stand up immediately. Dr. Collins, how is my sister? Don't worry, Alpha. She is doing grand. We stitched up her wound and gave her some medication to speed up the healing process. She's in recovery now. Thank you, I say, nodding my head. Just doing my job. Now let me examine this young lady. He replies, directing both of our attention to Cora, who is still knocked out on the bed. He lifts her shirt, which is covered in blood, to find 3 large scars running from her midriff to her waist, but they are no longer bleeding and are now fully healed. Didn't you say she had gashes? Dr. Collins asks. I look down at what he sees and raise my eyebrows. How is possible she has healed it so quickly? It should have needed stitches. She did. Could it have anything to do with what she is? I ask, stroking her hair away from her eyes. What do you mean? He questions like he doesn't know. Don't lichens heal quickly? I ask, confused. Shouldn't he know this since he examined her? I'm sorry, Alpha, I didn't know she was a lichen, but yes, that could be why, he explains. Did you not do all the necessary tests when she first came here? I ask. Those tests would not show whether she would be a lichen, Alpha. That DNA has hidden components which disguise itself as wolves until the transformation is completed. If that was her first shift, I wouldn't have known. Anyway, let me check her head, he says, dismissing my questions. He gently pulls her hair up to find a slight bruise next to her temple. He pokes it at different angles and then put her hair back. She will be fine, Alpha, just needs some rest to recuperate, he assures me. I nod to him and he indicates for me to follow him out of the room. I do as he wishes, closing the door behind me. In a low tone he says, If she is what you say, then she is the last of her kind and will be in danger. She is also my mate, I whisper to him. He takes a step back, the shock of what I said hitting him at full force. Have you that known this whole time? He questions. No. I only found out when I saw her lichen tonight. I growl angrily that she kept it from me. She would have known this whole time, Alpha, he states. But she had a mate who she rejected. Would she have known while with him? I ask. No, but as soon as she rejected him, she would have, he replies. Who are her parents? He asks thoughtfully, a frown creasing his eyebrows. The king and queen, I say sternly, letting him know not to reveal this information to others. Lady Calliope? He sounds surprised. Yes, and King Conry, I say. Alpha, that is wrong. The king and queen's daughter died a week after birth. I should know since I was the one who took care of her mother through it all, but she passed during the birth, he states. No, that can't be right. Cora would have told me, I reply. Unless, no, the king wouldn't do that, he says to himself, his eyes moving a mile a minute. What? I ask. Oh, nothing, sir. I have to go check on your sister. Miss Cora is free to leave when she wakes. Then he abruptly leaves. My eyes trail after Dr. Collins. My head is so confused by all the information he just told me. How can Cora be the king and queen's daughter if that baby died? How can she even be a lichen? But not only those questions, I've also got the ones about her being my mate and never telling me. All this time, and she has been keeping so much information from me. Is anything she has said the truth? I shake my head. I need those answers, pushing my hand roughly through my hair. I look back at the door to the room she is in. It's now or never, I guess. Pushing open the door, I find Cora sitting up in bed, twiddling her fingers together. She looks up at me, and what I expect to get is not what happens. Her face should show excitement, happiness, and relief, but no, it only shows apprehension, nervousness, and shame. Cora, I say, no warmth to my tone. Hi, Kia, she replies gently. I think we need to talk, I state. Yeah, I guess we do, she mumbles. Kia's POV. I grab the chair I was sitting in before and pull it to the middle of the bedside facing Cora. I sit down and take a deep breath, rubbing both my hands across my face, not sure where to start with it all. Let's start with the fight and work backward through my questions, I say. She nods her head at me and then looks back down at her hands. Sitting back in the chair, I ask the first one. What started the fight? I ask. I'm not sure. We got to the lake after shopping and everything was fine, but then when Kate and Amy went to get changed, they came out as their wolves, which confused us. So Neela shifted, then Kate attacked her. I focused on them for a while, but Amy was going to attack me, so I shifted. I hurt her badly, and then saw Kate nearly killing Neela. So I dropped Amy, then went and ripped her leg off. I went back to Neela and moved her hand, then you arrived, she whispers out. The hurt in her voice tells me it's the truth. How is Neela? She asks. She has been stitched up and is in recovery, I reply. Oh, thank God. I thought she was going to die. I had to command Samora to shift to let you help her. Otherwise, she would be dead right now, she states. I've never heard of a human commanding their other counterpart, but I guess anything can happen when you're a lichen. Tell Samora thank you for being so protective over Neela, I say. She cares a lot for her, she whispers. Okay, next question. How are you a lichen? I ask, rubbing my chin thoughtfully. This question will easily lead to my next one. She opens her mouth to say something, then closes it, her lips squeezing together and a frown forms in her eyes. So my father is a wolf, but my mother, I never met her, but I know she was a lichen. How do you know that then? I question. I always remember my father telling me that she was a great white wolf, but not shaped like any other, and that I would be exactly like her, although it wasn't until my first shift that I knew what he meant by it, she answers confidently. That leads me to my next question then. Who are your parents? I know she has already told me, but I have to dig deeper. King Conry and Queen Calliope, but you already know this, she states. That is not true. I say, sternly growling at her. She moves back slightly from me. Yes, it is, she stammers. No, it isn't. Queen Calliope gave birth to a baby girl. She died during the birth, and the baby died a week later, so you are lying to me. I snarl. Kia, I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything, she says, letting out a deep breath. Okay, so tell me. Prove who you are, I demand. I will tell you happily, but I won't prove it. It's your choice if you chose to believe what I say or not. She growls back at me, her eyes flickering brighter with her rising anger. I nod my head to her and choose to stay quiet. Maybe it will help with understanding her truth. I know she wants to keep her pride, but it would be easier for me to see everything from her memories. When I was 10, I asked my father where my mother was and why she wasn't here, so he told me the full story about my birth. She heaves a deep sigh, her shoulders dropping. She stays quiet for a moment, then carries on. No one knows other than me, my parents, and the first in command that my mother had a brain aneurysm. They found out the day she was pregnant. The doctor who told her this news sadly died a week later, so she had a new doctor. Dr. Collins, who was never told. The original doctor said she had to choose her baby or her life, as her lichen couldn't heal her while pregnant because she couldn't shift, so she chose me. She whispers the last part, tears slowly falling from her eyes. I would comfort her, but I'm still unsure if it's the truth. She died during the birth because of that aneurysm, but I came out perfectly fine. A few people knew at the time what my mother was and tried to take me from my father in those first few days, so he had me die when I would have been a week old. There was a funeral and everything, and my father pretended he lost both of his girls. Then he kept me a secret for 3 years, and only one other person knew I was alive. When I turned 3, he pretended to adopt me that way no one would suspect anything. He even made it seem like it was fate because I had the same birthday and whatnot, so yeah, that is the full story. She finishes. My mind and my heart are fighting with each other whether to believe her or not. So much doubt sits around this whole situation. But if I have to trust my gut, then I will. I believe you, I whisper. Final question. I look at her and wait for her to meet my eyes. This question is more of a 2-in-1, but it will give me the answer I need. It takes a minute, but the stretch of silence must make her curious. Her face stays pointed down, but her eyes look directly at mine, and that is all I need to ask. When did you know we were mates, and why didn't you tell me? I say with a growl to my tone, Cora's POV. When did you know we were mates, and why didn't you tell me? Kia asks me with a strong bite to his tone. I shake my head at him, not wanting to answer, not knowing how to answer, even afraid to answer. I know he won't let this go now, but I wish he could just forget it all. I look down at the blanket and pull off imaginary lint. Samora? Yes. Help. I'm sorry, Cora, but this one is on you and you alone, she replies. The tears which stopped falling down my cheeks start up again. I sniffle and then wipe my eyes and nose, not wanting him to see me like this. Straight after I rejected Drake, I knew you were my second chance, I whisper. All this time you knew, he shouts, standing up with his fists clenched. Yes, but I was afraid, I say, defending my actions. He scoffs at my words, turning around. He kicks over the chair with so much anger that it crashes into the wall. We only talked the night before, he shouted again. How could you be afraid of me? He says, his voice lowering slightly. I didn't say I was afraid of you, Kia, I growl, my own anger starting to rise. You just said you were afraid, he throws his hands up in the air, exasperated. So that means of me. He shoves his finger into his chest. No, what I meant was I am afraid of getting hurt again. I reply, all the fight leaving my body and replaced by my insecurities. Liar, he shouts. No, Kia, I'm not lying, I say softly. You are, he says, his anger taking over him. He punches the wall. The sound of the drywall cracking makes me jump, my eyes wild with fear that he could hurt me. I move further back into the bed, pulling my knees up to my chest and watching him closely. I want you, Kia, I growl, my determination coming back. I just didn't want you to throw me away like Drake did when I didn't give him pups, I snarl. His voice calms down ever so slightly, so he's not yelling at me. Tell me, Cora, why on earth would I do that when I have been waiting for my mate since I was 18? The only reason I asked you to be my chosen mate was that I thought I'd never find her, and because we had such a good connection. But you knew that whole time that I was your mate. He growls at the end, walking towards the bed. He stands just at the side of it. You know what, Kia? I'm not doing this. I say then get up from the bed on the opposite side. Straightening my clothes, I find my trainers near the end of the bed and pull them on roughly. Kia growls at this. Now I understand why Drake threw you away, he says, getting my attention. I stand up ramrod straight. Turning, I face him directly, folding my arms across my chest. I say, go on then, Kia. Why did he throw me away? Because you're a worthless mate, he growls. The shock that hits my body stuns me into silence. You won't fight for anything. Not even a mate, he yells. You can't give pups, you can't trust, you can't love. He punches the mattress with those last words. Do you feel better now? Throwing every problem I have back into my face. I shout, the hurt, anger, and betrayal all coming out in my words. I suck in a breath, keeping my tears from falling. Kia exhales loudly and yells, just leave, Cora. I don't want to look at you right now. I nod my head to him and sprint out of the room, heading straight for the exit. I dash out of there. When I get outside the double doors, I finally let my tears fall. The heartbreak and anguish over this whole day rolling through me in waves. I don't know how I made it back to the house, but somehow I got here safely. Walking in the door, I hear voices in the kitchen, ignoring them. I go straight upstairs to shower and change. Coming back down, I head into the kitchen, where I can still hear quiet talking. I find Riggs and Luca sitting at the counter. Luca looks very distraught, so I go over to him and wrap my arms around him, giving him a tight squeeze before letting go. As much as I want to comfort him right now, I've got more important things I need to do. I want to go see those girls, I demand. Cora, I can't. Alpha will go mad, he replies with a pained look. You either take me or Samora will break in there, I state with no room for negotiations. He looks anywhere but at me, and I know he is trying to find an excuse not to take me. Do it, Riggs. They hurt her too, not just Neela. Luca defends me. I smile gently at him, gripping his upper arm with my hand, showing my appreciation. Plus, if I go, I will kill them myself, so it's best I stick with Perry. He laughs, trying to make light of a bad situation. Fine, he grumbles. Alpha is going to kill me, he says under his breath. We make our way out of the house and down the road. I follow closely to Riggs, not even trusting my own shadow right now. We come to a shed, which has me severely confused. I thought catacombs were underground. Stepping inside, Riggs puts his hand on the ground where a blue light flashes across it. Then a door opens inwards to a set of stairs. The only light comes from the candles burning at the bottom of the stairs. I look at Riggs and then at the stairs. The unease I feel in having to go down there rakes through my body. Come on, you need to go first since I locked the door behind us, he states, hurrying me along. I forget my nerves and head straight down, blocking out the putrid smell that rises as I descend. Riggs locks the door and then leads me all the way to the end of the catacomb. He indicates to the one cell on my left and two on my right. Hello, Cora. We've been expecting you. Bethany laughs. Cora's POV. Hello, Cora. We've been expecting you. Bethany laughs. Ugh, the sound of her disgusting voice grates through my head. I look to my left at the cell Bethany resides in. She looks even worse than she sounds. Her hair is matted in every which direction, poking out widely like a mad scientist. She's got what looks to be a white t-shirt that goes to her knees, but it's now turned brown in some areas. I heave at the thought that it's her defecating on herself. How the mighty have fallen. She's also covered head to toe in dirt. The once beautiful Bethany is no more. I grimace at her and instead move my attention to the other two girls on my right. Kate is in the cell at the end of the corridor, and Amy is in the one before her. I look at Kate. She's lying on what seems to be a thin, hard mattress on the ground, once again a white t-shirt. That is actually white, may I add, with her one leg bandaged up, resting on a small, soft pillow. Her face is full of what looks to be sorrow, but I don't trust her at all. I turn my attention to the final of the three. Amy is sitting in the corner of her cell, her legs bent into her chest with her arms wrapped tightly around them. Her head rests against the wall, her eyes glued to some spot behind my head like she's in a complete daze. Miss Cora, I hear from Riggs. Yes, I reply. You may not get much from any of them, but you need to be quick, he tells me. I hum in response. Cat got your tongue, girl, Bethany giggles. I ignore her words and direct my focus to Kate. Why did you attack Neela? I ask. She looks over to me with a smile on her face. I felt like it, she says simply. Kate, you were her friend once. What happened to wanting to try to be friends again? I question. She was never my friend, she says, raising her voice and sitting up. Yes, you were. You told me in the cafe, I state, a frown appearing on my face. No. My parents made me be friends with her because she was the Alpha's daughter. They only wanted a higher rank in the pack, she spits. I never liked her. Everything she wanted she got. But no, not me. If I wanted a new top, I had to be a good girl and arrange some sort of way for my parents to talk to hers. But if she wanted a phone at 5 years old, she got it. So no, I used her for my parents' benefit. Amy was her only true friend. She loved her more than me, her own stepsister, she yells out the end part. So all of this is because you were jealous of her? I ask. I was never jealous, she screams at me. I hear Bethany cackle behind me, but I don't bother to look. I only wanted my parents to love me like they should, not use me for their gain, she states, her voice lowering. Okay, that's fair enough then, I guess. I say, agreeing with her, that her parents shouldn't have pushed her to be fake friends with someone she didn't want to be friends with. No wonder she hates Neela so much. Has Amy spoken since she woke up? I ask, looking at Amy and seeing her body slightly rocking. Kate surprises me and answers in a worried tone. She has only said that she wants to speak to Neela. I move closer to Amy's cell, but keep a foot between it and me. Amy? I ask. No response. Can I talk to you? I speak. Nothing. Please, I'm sure you'd like to know how Neela is. I encourage her, using Neela as bait. This gets her attention, and she moves her head so it's facing me. That's when I notice how her head is dipped in on the side, which was leaning against the wall. Her hair is partially shaved, and she now has a scar running from her forehead to the crown of her head. I instantly feel guilt sweep through my bones. How could I do this to someone? You're not having pity for the freak, are you? Bethany snarls behind me. Bethany, shut up, I growled. Amy, I say softly, would you come sit across from me? She stays still for a second, then shuffles her body so it is opposite me. She keeps her head tilted so I can't see the injury. In one way I'm thankful, in another I'm not. I did this, and I should be able to own that, but it doesn't satisfy me in any way. How's Neela? Amy whispers so quietly I nearly miss it. She's okay, has some stitches, but will be fit as a fiddle in a few days, I reassure her. The corner of her lip twitches at my words, but I don't say anything. What made you want Neela to hurt? I ask. She looks down at the ground, her toes pushing the sand through each other. I didn't, but Kate told me it's all a joke to make me do it, and that if I didn't shed hurt properly, she whimpers. I thought you both knew that it was for fun, but then during it I realized it wasn't. Please tell Neela I'm sorry, truly sorry for this, she cries, big ugly tears. Not wanting to upset her even more, I move away from the cell. Bethany decides to chime in again, though. Oh, boo-hoo, she got what was coming to her, she quips. Riggs, gag her and tie her in the chains. I'm done here, I command, and with that I walk away, off to wait at the beginning of the catacombs. Riggs turns up a few minutes later and we walk back to the house silently. Kia's POV. It's around 10 p.m. when Neela wakes up from her slumber. Hey, stranger, how are you? I ask. Hurting, she replies, keeping her eyes closed. Are you glad you're alive? I joke. Of course, if it wasn't for Cora, I wouldn't be, she states. Why did she have to bring Cora up? My argument with her still lingers in my mind, the hurtful words I shouted at her. I regret ever asking her those questions. I should have trusted her from the beginning. She's never told me wrong before, so why should I think differently now? My silence must intrigue Neela because she finally opens her eyes and looks at me. What's wrong? She asks. Nothing, I reply. Yes, there is, otherwise you would not have this look on your face, she says, her finger wiggling around in a circle at me. What's wrong with my face? I retort, trying to distract her from the pain I've caused. Kia, don't lie to me, she growls. I breathe a deep sigh, all the pain and disgust in myself being let out from it. Oh God, what have you done? Neela questions, her face full of worry. Me and Cora had an argument, I whisper. What kind of argument? She questions. One where I told Cora she's a useless mate, I tell her. What do you mean? How would you know that? She asks, frowning. She tries to sit up, but the pain in her stomach stops her. Cora is my mate, Neela. I found out when I saw her liken Samora, I state. Oh my God, no way. I love it. You two are going to be the best couple ever, she says excitedly, clapping her hands. She stops when she sees the gloom on my face. Why don't I like the look you have? She tells me. Because I doubted her, told her she's worthless, can't give me pups or trust or even love properly, I say, my voice breaking at the end. Oh, Kia, what have you done? She growls. I regret it all now. She's everything I've ever wanted and more. I wanted her to be my chosen mate, I say. And so, you should do, you know the hurt she's been through. I couldn't imagine her life, the emotional abuse she's suffered, she defends her. I know, and I will fix it, I state. You better. That girl will be my sister. What are you doing here when you should be out there with her? She demands. I was waiting for you to wake up so we could talk. The doctor said Cora could go home, so that's what she did after the argument. I lie slightly. Kia, you need to go sort this out now, she growls. I will do it first thing in the morning. It's late now and Perry will be asleep, so I don't want to disturb her, I say. Fine, but as soon as the sun comes through that window, you are to go to her, got it? She insists. I nod my head to her, not arguing because I know I've fucked up big time. Neela doesn't say anything else and instead turns away from me, going back to sleep. I don't want to lose my mate and my sister, so I need to think of how I'm going to fix this. I understand Cora has been through a lot, but she should have told me. I would have been patient with her. I mean, she did just get rejected, so it's not like I would force her to be marked by me. But at the same time, talking with Neela, I realized that the way is completely different from Cora's. She has been hurt by Drake so badly from the rejection and then him wanting her back. I'm glad she was strong enough to resist him, although I guarantee Samora helped with that. Samora seems so strong, even she would deny the mate bond to protect someone she loved. I am grateful to her as well, and I will have to show them both. I mind link Riggs to check in on everything. Riggs, yes, Alpha, he replies. Kate and Amy in the catacombs? Yes, sir. How are they both doing? I ask. Kate seems fine, but Amy, she keeps asking to speak to Neela. She wants to apologize for everything, he states. That's not going to happen, I say, growling internally. Alpha? Riggs says, then stops. What is it? I question. I think you should let Neela decide. The way Amy was talking about her and the fact she won't eat or drink, I do think she's being genuine, he says. I think it over. I know Amy and Neela were always the closest when they were younger, but that doesn't excuse the fact she also had a hand in my sister's near-death experience. Also, Alpha, from what has been said down here, I understand that Amy believed it was meant to be a playful fight, not an actual fight. So when she realized Kate was trying to actually kill Neela, she knew she had to try to keep Cora away from her and Kate, as she could kill them. It's all a bit fucked up if you ask me. He laughs at the end. Okay, I will ask Neela when she wakes up what she would like to do. I confirm, then cut off the link between us. This day just keeps going even though I want it to finally end. I wonder if Cora is in bed with Perry now, sleeping blissfully as she always does. I doubt it from the pain I've caused, but I can hope. I lay my head on the bed next to Neela's arm. Closing my eyes, I let my mind imagine a life with Cora. Living in my home, Perry as our adopted child, then a few pups after. Days running through the field, laughing until we cry. And happiness. Pure happiness. Those thoughts make sleep come quicker. Cora's POV. The whole walk back to the house, I ponder over Kate and Amy's words. Knowing Kate never liked Neela is something I will have to tell her, but it can wait. Then we have Amy. She looked so broken and non-functioning that it broke my heart that I had to talk to her like a baby, which was demoralizing to her. When Riggs met me at the door to leave, it looked like he knew something I didn't, but I don't bother asking. We make it back to the house and find Luca and Perry sitting in the lounge watching 101 Dalmatians. The villain has just been kicked into a pile of sludge, which makes them both laugh hysterically. It's nice to see Luca smile and be distracted from Neela in the hospital. I creep up behind them and jump out at them, shouting, "RA!" with my hands held in claw shapes. Luca and Perry jump up so quickly, screaming loudly. Luca pushes Perry in front of himself. I laugh when he says, "Eat her, not me." Riggs behind me does a small chuckle. "Luca, you can't use a girl to protect yourself," he admonishes. I just laugh at his antics. It's nice to forget about the argument with his for 5 minutes. "All right, guys, I'm off to bed. You coming, Perry?" I ask. She nods her head at me and makes her way upstairs to our room. We both get changed and comfortable, then quickly drift off to sleep. The next morning, I wake around 5:30 a.m. My mind is made up as soon as I open my eyes, so I get myself dressed quietly and tiptoe out of the house to go see Neela. The sun is only just appearing when I reach the hospital. I know Kia is with her, and I don't want to see him, so I go in and sit a few doors away from her room. Exactly at 6 a.m. he comes out of the room looking disheveled and tired. He must be in his own mind because when he walks down the opposite corridor, he doesn't seem to recognize me. Once he is gone, I get up and knock on her door, letting myself in. I find Neela sat up in bed with a frown on her face. "What are you doing here?" she questions me. "I came to check you were okay," I reply, taking the chair next to her bed. "I'm doing fine, just waiting for this damn hole to heal," she grunts. "Well, that's good then," I say. "Yeah, I just sent Kia home to come to find you and apologize," she replies, smiling. "Oh well, I must have missed him," I lie, looking away slightly. "Well, he will find you later, I'm sure. How's Perry and Luca?" she asks. "Luca is worried about you and Perry is keeping him distracted, so it's going okay, I guess," I reply. "Good. I don't need him worrying too much," she states. "Anyway, I'm glad I've seen you, but I'm going to let you get some rest. The sooner you're out of here, the better," I say, smiling, but sadness creeps into my bones. "Okay, well, give them all my love," she replies. "Other way round, Neela," I laugh while leaving. I stand outside her door for a few minutes contemplating what I'm about to do. I can't have doubt and mistrust in my life, and there's only one way to fix that. I know Kia may hate me for it, but it has to happen one way or another. I won't have another man control my life, so the best way to fix that is by taking my life into my own hands and doing what needs to be done. Taking a deep breath, I walk out of the hospital towards the house. "What are you doing?" Samora asks. "You know what I'm doing," I reply. "Are you sure it's the right thing to do?" she questions. "It's the only thing I can do right now. Otherwise, I don't know where to go, so I'm trusting my gut," I say. "Okay, well, I'm with you all the way," she states. "It's not like you have any other choice," I snicker. I reach the house and see Perry sitting on the porch, going up to her. I wrap her in my arms, squeezing tightly. "Everything will be okay, I promise," I whisper into her hair. "What's wrong, Cora?" she asks, pulling away from me and looking at my face. "Nothing, sweetheart," I reply, smiling down at her. "I'm going to go for a run, okay?" I speak. "Okay." She stops speaking, her eyes turning black, then back to their normal gray just as quick. "Tell Samora to take care of you," she advises me. I furrow my brows at her, wanting to ask what she has seen, but decide against it, giving her another squeeze. I then turn to go around the back of the house. I jog through the field, reaching the forest in record time. I go in a few feet, then call Samora forward. "You know what to do?" I say to her just as the shift starts. She howls to the trees. The wind sweeps it away, carrying it as far as it can go. Samora takes off, running, weaving in and out of trees and jumping over fallen branches and boulders. Her agility shows its true self right at this moment. She pushes herself even harder until the trees are flying past so fast that you can barely tell she's here. A flash of gold is all you would see. She comes to a stop at the edge of one forest, but it's where a new one begins, a much denser one than the one behind us. She shakes out her fur and starts running again, but at a slower pace, taking more precautions in this unknown land. She curves around a large tree just as she appears on the other side. She hears a snap and stops moving, then something heavy lands on her body, flattening it to the ground, while burning her skin, causing her to shift back into me. I look around at what is holding me down and find it's a silver net covering my whole body with rocks tied to each corner to stop me from chucking it off. A chuckle sounds from above my head, looking up to the person who's responsible. I find the one person I never wanted to see again. "Hello, my dear, what a pleasure it is to find you," Nigel says, smiling broadly down at me, Cora's POV. Once Nigel has left the room, I look directly at the boy as he goes to work on my arm. I've gotten to know Nate quite well over the last year. He's kept me informed on what goes on inside here just to stop me from going completely insane. We now have a mutual respect for what each other is doing, but when I get my chance, I will free him with me. "What's he giving me today, Nate?" I ask the boy. I don't know why I call him a boy. I know he's the same age as me, but he looks like a child. "Steroids, but a more potent version," he replies, keeping his eyes on the task. "What does he think is going to happen? I'm magically going to become stronger, so then his army will do the same?" I snort. "In his dreams," I say. "He believes the steroids will supercharge your blood, which, yes, in turn will make his men stronger," he states. I laugh gently, trying not to disturb what Nate is doing. He's a nice boy and shouldn't come to any harm on my watch. The thought makes me think of the young girl. "Have you seen the young girl who used to fetch my food?" I ask. Nate stops what he is doing, looks at me for a second, then quickly turns his head away and back to the task. A sorrowful look comes over his face, while his eyes turn red and fill with tears that don't fall. "Tell me," I urge softly. He looks up to the ceiling and lets out a deep breath, closing his eyes and reopening them. "The girl, Charity," he says, letting me know her name for the first time. "She died a few days ago," he whispers. "What?" I shout, anger surging through my veins, making my blood pump faster and start to pool out from my arm around where the needle is inserted. "Please calm down, Miss Cora. You can't lose too much blood. You will go into hypovolemic shock," he whispers, panicked. He grabs a wad of tissues from the table and gently presses them onto my arm, slowing down the bleeding while he finishes drawing blood into the vials. "Who cares?" I growl, trying and failing to throw my hands up to show my displeasure. "I do. You are my friend," he replies. I stop moving and watch him for a few moments, assessing whether he is telling the truth. He doesn't act any different and carries on with his job while looking into my eyes now and again. This situation reminds me of the first time it happened. Nigel went crazy at me, but because I was so drained, he wasn't allowed to beat me for weeks. Now he has to keep me at a constant level to stop it from happening. He has to keep me on the verge of weak, so I don't cause trouble. "All finished, Miss Cora. I shall be back later to take another vial to see if it has done anything," Nate says. "Could you fetch me something to eat?" I ask. He heaves a sigh, then finally spits his words out, "I will try." Then he turns and heads to the door, knocking on it twice for it to open, then quickly walks out, the door closing loudly after him. Once again, I am left to my imagination and memories. Hopefully with this steroid I might be able to reach Samora. I use my link and call out for her. "Samora?" No answer. I go deeper into our connection and say again, "Samora." Still nothing. I try one last time. "Samora," I growl with determination. "Cora, is that you?" She replies, Yes, it's me. Are you okay?" I ask. "I feel like I'm getting energized," she says. "That may be from the steroid we were given," I inform her. More experiments. When is he going to learn?" She growls. "Keep calm. Don't use your energy. It took me 3 times to get through to you this time," I say. "Cora, we need to get out of here. Our bond is being broken," she says with panic in her voice. "I know. Hopefully we will soon. Get some more rest, we can speak later," I tell her. I don't get a reply, so I stop searching for her in my mind. I hear the door creak, and once again in walks Nigel with his 2 new men. He has a big frown on his face. "Precious, it seems our nurse has requested for you to be watched over the next 24 hours, so I will leave my new guys with you," he tells me. He turns around and whispers to Damien and Drake, not realizing I can hear everything. "Keep a close eye on her. She will try to trick you and has powers that can affect you, so be vigilant." The disgust in his voice is laughable, but I pretend to hear nothing. They both nod to him and then he leaves, locking us all in the room. I don't bother to initiate a conversation. They will talk to me when the time is right. After maybe an hour, Damien speaks up quietly. "Miss Cora, it is good to see you again," he states. "What are you doing here?" I question. "To get you," he replies simply. "Are Kia, Neela, and Perry okay?" I ask. My eyes briefly flick to Drake and wonder why he is here. He nods his head but stays on topic. "We should be able to get you out in a matter of days, so keep your strength up," he informs me while pointing to my arm. "The steroids were my idea to give you extra strength ready for when we need it," he says. I don't bother to reply to that. Instead, I ask, "Why is Drake here?" Damien must not expect the question and raises his eyebrows at me. "I couldn't fetch your mate, otherwise we would have a war on our hands, so you have your ex instead," he informs me. "Does Kia know where I am?" I question, feeling my body become tense and start to vibrate. Drake looks directly at me and speaks for the first time. "No. I told him that I had heard from the kingdom and that you were spending time with your father," he states. "Okay, that does make me feel better. I'm glad they won't be worrying." The hum in my body doesn't slow down, so I close my eyes and breathe through it. I feel a surge of power cascade through my veins. It makes my back arch off the table, and my body becomes rigid. I open my mouth to let out a scream, but it comes out silently. The blood rushes through my body like a tidal wave. Opening my eyes, the room starts to glow bright green. My body begins to shift into Samora but stops as the silver cuffs suppress the shift. She pushes forward in my head and speaks out loud, looking directly at Damien and Drake. "I'm back," she growls. Kia's POV. Sitting on the back porch, I watch as Perry and Neela dance around in the long grass of the field. They are laughing and chasing each other, pretending to be a fox and a hound. A small smile appears on my face for the first time in a long time, but instantly vanished when the thoughts come back. It has been a year since Cora left. I've not heard anything from her, but Damien, the king's first in command, told me she has settled back in well at the kingdom and will eventually contact me. All I want to know is why she left. Why not just talk to me? I know we had an argument, and I was harsh on her for not telling me I was her mate, but I can forgive that. I just want my mate home. I hear Luca laugh loudly next to me. Glancing over, I see he is pointing at the girls who are now rolling down the hill with sticks and all sorts sticking out of their hair. I snort at them. "Wow, boss, are you feeling okay?" Luca asks. "Yes. Why?" I reply with a frown. "Because you laughed for the first time in ages," he says with shock. "Oh, shut it, Luca," I grumble. "Hey, it's not my fault your grumpy ass can't have fun," he remarks. "I can have fun, I just choose not to," I mumble. "Sure, boss, whatever you say. Just don't look my way when you do. I don't want my face to break into pieces from it," he cackles. I raise my eyebrows at him and decide to change the subject. "Any news?" I ask. Luca stops his laughing, and his face goes blank. He looks to the ground and shakes his head. "No, boss, we haven't seen her there, and it seems Damien is keeping her locked inside the kingdom for the moment, probably due to her father's health," he says. I growl at his reply. Damien is refusing to let anyone see her unless she requests them, and so far, none of us have heard a peep. Not even Perry. I know Cora loves Perry like her own, so why she wouldn't even ask to see her is beyond me. It's been a year. How can she just disregard us all this time? I growl out. My frustration and anger all came out into my words. "Alpha," Riggs says. I look to my right and see him watching me carefully. I know he hates seeing me like this, so I try to pull myself back together. "Are you sure she is there?" Riggs asks. "No, I'm not. I've searched everywhere, even spoken to Alpha Drake, which was no use. The Rogue King doesn't even know, which surprises me," I reply. Riggs stays quiet for a moment, then speaks again. "Have you asked young Perry?" he questions. I look at him with confusion. Why would Perry know anything? She's just a girl. "No. Why would I ask. "She is a seer, Alpha. She may be able to help," he replies. "No, she isn't," I say, adamant in my answer. Riggs and Luca both let out a sigh. "Alpha, no offense, but you need to get your head out of your ass and back into the real world," Luca says with disgust. "Luca," Riggs chides him. He shakes his head and turns back to me. "Alpha, you need to talk to Perry. She has been seeing things these last few months, but you have been too occupied to notice," he says. "If she was a seer, I would have known," I say, determined. "Alpha, just listen for once and do as we ask," Riggs says, exasperated. "Fine. I will ask her later tonight," I say, just to shut them up about it. I look over to the girls and see them pretending to be bunnies, hopping around in the long grass. One moment they are laughing while jumping, and the next Perry has dropped to the ground. Neela doesn't notice at first because she has her back to her, but when she turns slightly, she instantly stops bouncing around and runs to her side. "Perry!" she shouts. We all jump up from our chairs and race over to them both. As we get closer, I can hear Neela call Perry's name with panic in her voice. We reach her side and find Perry has not only passed out, but her skin is gray and clammy. Neela taps her cheeks, wiggles her arms, then starts stroking her hair, all while calling out her name. Tears streak down her face. I already know she's thinking the worst. I put my 2 fingers against Perry's neck and find she has a pulse, but it's really fast. "Luca, call the doctor," I urge. "Yes, sir," he replies while walking away. "Neela, calm down," I say, grabbing her hands and squeezing them. "She has a pulse. She's not dead." I say, but it only seems to make her cry more. "Come on, let's get her to the house," I say. I put one arm under her neck and the other under her legs, then pull her up to my chest. Standing up, I start to walk slowly to the house. "Kia, we shouldn't move her," Neela says. "Too late now. She shouldn't stay here while the doctor is on his way," I reply, walking off. As I'm walking to the house, I hear Perry whisper. "Cora," I stop dead in my tracks. Perry? I question, but no reply. Her eyes move wildly behind her lids like she's having a nightmare. A frown crosses over her face, then it's gone again. I shake my head, dismissing what I heard, and head inside the house. I place Perry on the sofa gently. The doctor walks through the door a few seconds later. Alpha, how can I help? He asks. I use my hand and indicate Perry lying on the sofa. He nods his head and goes straight to her. He grabs a few instruments out of his bag. He listens to her chest and then feels around her body. Seemingly satisfied with himself, he stands up, pats me on the shoulder with a small smile, and whispers to me, "She is having a vision, Alpha. She will come back around in a minute." Then he turns and leaves. I stand there in shock, now believing what Luca and Riggs tried to tell me while wrapping my head around it. I hear a groan from the sofa, so I go to sit next to Perry. I brush her hair away from her eyes and wait while she comes to. She opens her eyes slowly and looks directly at me, sitting upright so fast I nearly don't catch her. "Wow, Perry, calm down," I say. No, Cora." She hiccups. "Cora is getting hurt," she cries. Those words make my world stop. Kia's POV. The waves of panic, hurt, and raw anger flow through my body. Perry's words fuel the need to find Cora with overwhelming need. I look around the room, seeing Riggs, Luca, and Neela all standing by the door of the living room. I look directly at Riggs, waiting for him to say something, as he normally knows what to say in this situation, but it seems even he's lost for words today, so I bring my attention back to Perry. "Perry, calm down for a moment and tell me exactly what you saw," I say calmly, keeping all of my emotions inside. Perry looks up at me, tears in her eyes, panic and worry flickering across her face. "Okay, she's in a dark room. There were chains around her legs and arms holding her down. She was talking to some man, but I couldn't see his face properly, but he feels so familiar," she whispers. Her face paled while talking. "What else?" I growl, letting my own panic and anger out at her. "Kia," Neela growls back at me, coming over to sit on the other side of Perry. "She is trying. Just be patient," Neela says. I sigh in frustration. Standing up, I rub my hand against my head, trying to release my frustration before saying, "I'm sorry, Perry. I just need to know, okay?" I sigh, and I move to sit in front of her on the coffee table. "Okay, tell me anything and everything you saw. Take as long as you need." I try for a small smile, but I'm sure it comes out more like a grimace. Perry nods gently, then slowly explains. "There was another man in the room, standing by the door with a needle, I think," she says, frowning. Shaking her head, she carries on. "The man she was talking to had a belt in his hand, and he started beating her with it," she cries. "Shh, shh," Neela says, comforting Perry while rubbing her arms up and down. Neela looks over to me with worry written all over her face. "Perry, do you know where this place is?" I ask calmly. "No," she replies. I take a deep breath, looking down at the floor. How can this be happening? Cora is so strong. Damien told us that she was safe at the kingdom looking after her father, but from what I've just heard, I think he lied. Shaking my head, I mind-link Luca. "I need you to take a trip to the kingdom and demand to see Damien. We have to find her no matter what," I growl through. "Yes, Alpha," he replies. "When you see him, tell him that until I see her with my own eyes, we will be searching for her," I say. Luca nods his head and leaves without a word. I should never have stopped looking for her all this time, and she wasn't where I was told she was. Nothing will stop me until I find my mate. "Kia?" Perry says quietly. I look over at her softly. "Yes," I reply. "Could you get a seer here to help me with my visions?" she asks. "If I have more practice, I may be able to find her," she says with hope in her voice. "I'm not sure, but I will put Riggs on the job for you," I grimace, not giving her too much hope since most seers were killed in the war. The only ones left were in hiding. I walk out of the room and leave Neela to reassure Perry. Riggs follows closely behind me. We head into my office, and I sit down with a thump into my chair. Riggs takes the seat opposite, and we sit in silence for a few minutes, my thought rushing through my head. How could this happen? Who could have done this? Why would they do this? What if I never see my mate again? What if she never gets the chance to be a mum? So many questions with so few answers. I stare out through the window to the field where we once lay, the exact place where I asked if she would try to be mine. It was the best day of my life. But then I find out she is my mate, And don't get me wrong, I was so happy about it, but it was more of the betrayal that hurt. She was already keeping things from me, and we hadn't even officially started as a couple. Thinking back to that time, I could have acted differently when finding out she was mine rather than go nuts at her, but who could blame me? If I knew she would leave over it, I wouldn't have done it, but life is full of surprises. I hear Riggs clear his throat across from me, dragging me out of my thoughts. I look over to him to find him frowning at me. "So, what's the plan, Alpha?" he asks. First find a seer for Perry. If she truly has a chance at seeing her visions clearly, then we need to do all we can to help her, I state, looking back out the window. "Already done, sir," he says. I whip my head back toward him in shock. "How?" I question. He waits a few seconds before replying. "I have known a seer for a long time. Her name is Madge, and she lives not far from here. I asked one of the men to request her presence for me," he replies. Just then we hear a knock at the front door. I get up and walk towards the door. Flaming into the lounge, I see Perry and Neela are no longer there. They must be out the back then. Opening the door, I find an old lady who looks exactly like Mabel standing before me. "You must be the Alpha," she says. I only nod my head to her, confused at her resemblance. The short gray hair with white eyes and small stature is an exact resemblance to Mabel. "I know what you're thinking, Alpha, and yes, you are right. Mabel was my twin, but we went separate ways to protect ourselves. She knew what was to happen and let it take course, otherwise we would not be here now," she says, then continues. "Now are you going to let me in?" Speechless at her words, I move to the side and let her walk, but she stops after a few steps. Looking at her face, I see her eyes glued to the kitchen, where Perry is standing in the doorway, staring back at her. "Aunt Madge?" Perry whispers. "Oh, Perry," Madge whispers, bringing her hand to her mouth, tears brimming her eyes. Perry runs over to the old lady and wraps her arm around her tightly. Cora's POV. "It's been a few days since I've seen Nigel, so it makes me worried about what he's planning. I know when he disappears for a few days that it's going to be bad. The last time he did this, I could barely move for weeks. The thought of it causes the memories to flood back to me. 6 months earlier, I wake up to feel my body being jostled around roughly by several pairs of hands. I didn't remember why I was asleep so heavily, but knowing Nigel, he would have given me something to knock me out. That way he won't have me fighting back. I can't seem to open my eyes. The sensations around them make it seem like they are weighed down by a ton of bricks. I also can't move any part of my body, so I listen carefully to the sounds and the touches along my body. My body is pushed into a sitting position, and I can feel something cold seeping through the flannel pants I'm wearing. My chest is pushed back hard into something metal, which is freezing. The nerves in my body immediately want to arch away from it, but don't move an inch. Water is poured over my head, soaking my hair and dripping down my face. Some droplets manage to slide across my dry lips, giving them the first bit of moisture in days. A cap is then placed on my head and buckled underneath my chin tightly. My wrists are lifted onto what I think is the armrests of the chair and strapped in by a belt, I think, and my ankles are forced back into the chair and are also strapped in. The sounds in the room go quiet, and I try again to open my eyes. Even with all my willpower, it doesn't happen. I try to connect with Samora, but even in my head, I am unable to create one simple word. A slight breeze blows across my arm, sending shivers through my body, which doesn't respond. Then it's like my body has been turned into fire. Electric currents pulsate through my bones, making my blood boil. My eyes shoot open and then immediately close tightly from the pain. Every part of me shakes from the long-lasting electrocution. When it finally stops, I heave out the breaths I didn't know I was holding from clenching my teeth. Saliva pools out of my mouth and down my chin, eventually dropping onto my pants. If I could slump forward from the pain, I would, but the straps are keeping me in place. "Have a nice nap, precious?" I hear from across the room. My head lolls from side to side, unable to support its own weight while I try to regain control. "I hope this is a nice wake-up call for you," I hear. The voice sounds so familiar, but my hearing just can't place the voice. My eyes twitch from trying to open. I focus all of my attention on opening them to see who my tormentor is. But before I can, an ice-cold bucket of water is thrown over me, once again shocking the life out of me. My eyes spring open so quickly, focusing and landing directly on Nigel in front of me. He's standing a few feet away with a smirk on his face, proud of himself for doing another amazing set of torture on me. He must not like that I don't reply to him, so looks down into his hands. My eyes follow his, and that is when I see a controller in his hand. He moves his thumb over a button and presses it with determination. As he does so, another shock wave blasts through my body. He stops after only a few seconds, seeming to realize I was not fully aware of what was going on. "My dear girl, this punishment is because you are starving yourself, and I can't have that. Now I know you would say," he raises both hands in the air, making speech marks with his fingers and wiggling them, "you torture me. But you see, my girl, my torture is because you don't care for yourself. I can't have that because then the blood I take from you is worthless, so would you like to be in this chair again?" He finishes. I try to shake my head, but it doesn't follow my command, so instead I form the word no in my mouth and growl it out roughly. "Good, well, I will leave you with my men to have some fun and see you in a short while." He walks to me with long strides. Reaching his hand out, he grabs my chin and yanks me forward, placing an unwanted kiss on my mouth. The mere thought of his mouth near me makes me gag, so him kissing me makes me throw up. Since I have no food in my stomach, all that comes out is yellow bile. Nigel jumps away from me with such urgency as soon as he sees my sickness towards him. Growling at me from his safe distance, he tells his men, "Give her a few more shocks before you fetch her back. She must learn obedience." Then he turns and leaves. Present day. I shake my body out, trying and failing to rid myself of that horrible memory. After Nigel left, his 2 men sent several shocks through my body. When they had enough of it, they carried my limp body back to my room, cuffing my ankles and arms to the table. Heaving a sigh of relief, I take a look around the room, waiting for him to pop out with some unexpected torture like in the memory I just had, but nothing happens. Dead silence surrounds my room. It's unnerving to most, but I have become so accustomed to it that I now enjoy it. That is until I hear the loud pop that rings out from down the corridor. Screams and shouts follow just as quickly. Cora's POV. I hear people running around outside my locked door. Heavy footsteps sound outside the door. Must be at least 3 or 4 men. Loud screams from women and children echo through the walls. Somebody slams into the door. A loud groan follows them. All the sounds from outside the door high 10, my sense pushing fear through me, but I steel me emotions. The locks on the door turn slowly and quietly, but with Samora's heightened senses I can hear everything. My breathing becomes heavier from anticipation of what is about to happen. "Cora, it is time to leave," Samora tells me sternly, making me listen. "How? I can't get out?" I reply confused. "I'm locked in this concrete room." "Trust in our body, and the power will come," she says vaguely. Closing my eyes, I take a deep breath, then while letting it out slowly, I let the feelings of my body consume my thoughts. The beat of my heart, the flow of my blood, the tingling throughout my body as it recognizes my intense focus. Opening my eyes, the room is cast, is a green glow blinking. I realize that it's coming directly from my eyes. Sitting up, I see the chains which were once around my wrists and ankles are now lying on the floor. But they aren't whole pieces of chain. It's been melted down and now slightly solidified on the concrete floor. It's like lava bubbling a bright red color with black edges where it has cooled. Swinging my legs, I've the side of the bench too quickly. My body sways, a dizziness runs through my brain. I bring my hand to my head, trying to stop the wave of sickness which is about to me, but with no luck. Leaning forward, my empty stomach spills its contents onto the floor. My insides roll around several times while I try to stop retching. Not having decent meals over the last year must not be making it any better. Dismissing my sickness, I get up from the bench, narrowly missing the sick on the floor. Standing up straight, I stretch my aching bones for the first time in weeks. The cracking of stiff bones resonates through the room, but doesn't distract me from the fact that someone is trying to get into my room. Taking a few steps closer to the door, I stand next to the wall near the handle. The door rattles loudly. I hear someone shouting on the other side, but can't make out what they are saying. My instincts are telling me to go closer, but I decide not to. My wariness to everything in this world has changed. I can no longer trust this world in the slightest. I also don't know if I would be able to fight back if it's someone trying to kill me. Samora, what do we do? I ask her. Patience, Cora. The one who enters is here to help, she replies. How do you know that? I question, my brows furrowing. I can feel it inside of me, she answers simply. Just as I'm about to ask another question to her, the door swings in quickly. It's pushed so fast and hard that it fully opens and clacks against the wall. Standing at the door is Damien. The feeling of freedom arises again in my chest, the hope of being able to see Kia, Neela, and my little Perry. A small smile appears on my face but instantly vanishes as I realize where I still am. Cora, he says, nodding his head to me. Is it time to go? I ask, moving away from the wall to stand in front of him. He casts his eyes around the room, seeing the melted chains on the ground. Yes, but how did you get out? He questions. I'll tell you once I'm free, I say. Damien frowns at me for a second, but hears more shouting down the corridor, which pulls his attention from me. Let's go kill her, I hear some men yell. I feel my blood pumping faster through my veins. Panic erupts in my chest. Damien turns back to me instantly and says, "Follow me closely." He goes out the door and turns left. I can hear screams coming from every direction, but don't see anybody around. This makes me frown. Could it be up a floor? I must have spoken the internal question out loud as Damien replies, "Yes, it is. Someone shot Nigel," he answers with a growl to his tone. Is he dead? I ask. Damien stops walking and turns to me slightly. No, but he will be injured for a while, so now is our only chance to leave until lockdown happens. He shrugs. Not knowing what else to say, I nod my head to him. Damien starts sprinting down the corridors. I try to keep up with him, but not having any type of exercise has completely weakened my body. Damien notices my struggle and decides it'll be easier to throw me over his shoulder. I don't object to him as the exertion has winded me, but it's definitely not what I would like to do. We come to the end of the corridor where 2 doors sit in front of us. Damien opens the right one and goes in, closing the door behind us with a gentle click. Lifting me from his shoulder, he puts my feet back onto the ground. I sway slightly, and my sickness tries to return, but I ignore it. Damien holds onto my hand to steady me. I shake my head at him and pull my hand away. I shake my head, then look around the empty room. All the walls are bare and not a single item sits in this room, which confuses me. How are we supposed to get out from here? I demand. Damien ignores my question and walks around the room, stamping his foot on the wooden floors. He gets to the middle of the room and stamps just as he's fetching his foot up. A door springs open from the floor.